Hi, this is Matt with LSAT Cracked. Arguably the most difficult skill that you will be tested on the LSAT is going to be the skill of argument evaluation. Here's how the game works. You start with nothing except for two things. Imagine your mind like a blank piece of paper. You know the English language and you know basic rules of logic. At least once you're done with this course, you will. Those are the only two things you bring to the problem. You upload whatever premises are given to you, and then you ask yourself the following question. If these premises are true, would I bet my life that the conclusion that is being drawn here must be true? If the answer is yes, it's a good argument. Rare, but it does happen from time to time. Typically, the answer to that will be no, and then it will be a bad argument. Now, within the bad argument group, there's actually a subdivision, which is subtle but matters occasionally. Most of the time, you'll simply see the conclusion and say, well, I don't know. I don't know is essentially no, that claim doesn't have to be true. So you say, not necessarily true. Not necessarily true is your default position most of the time. You started off not knowing anything. They give you two premises. They said, all apples are bruised. All bruised things are on clearance. Therefore, all apples are discounted. And you said, A arrow C, just because the apple's on clearance, does that necessarily mean it's discounted? It's a new term, not sure it's a fair synonym. I'm going to say not necessarily true. Now, what if they told you all apples are bruised, all bruised objects are on clearance, therefore some apples are not on clearance? That claim, not only is it not a must-be-true claim, it actually contradicts logically what you know must be true, namely all A's or C's. They concluded A some, not C. That is a must-be-false claim. So most of the time when you're seeing a bad argument, you're simply going to respond, not necessarily true. In those rare instances where they're actually giving you a claim that logically contradicts what you know to be true, you are going to respond with must be false. Now, there's one last thing to keep in mind. So again, your three evaluation options: must be true, not necessarily true, must be false. And they go in that order, going from good, if you will, must be true, to not necessarily true, to must be false at the bottom. The lowest one wins if they ever combine several clauses in a statement. So what I mean is, if your sentence that you're evaluating has three distinct clauses, and one of them is a true statement, one of them is not necessarily true, and one of them is a must be false, the entire claim is evaluated as false. Again, it's sort of a lowest common denominator rules the day. If it was two true chunks combined with a not necessarily true chunk, that would take it down to not necessarily true. So the only way you can have a true evaluation, a must-be-true evaluation, when you have multiple components, is if all of the components are true. Keep all of these things in mind as we move on to the next exercise, where we start with a couple of premises and then take a look at the correct evaluation of several possible claims.